Hey, when we judge ourselves, we often get it wrong. It's an easy thing to be a poor judge of ourselves. We expect too much. We don't factor into the situation all the variables. We're thinking about what other people think or how they will judge us, and on and on and on. We're going to talk about all that today as we look at how we're judging ourselves and what it does for us in business and in life. All that on today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom.
Good morning.
Too many.
What's that? You're a little short. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think I went too far, but that's okay.
You don't have that down pat after
Assumingly not.
episodes. Okay, that's fair. Doing it new every time, correct?
Brand new.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast, where Bob and I have a conversation around a topic. This week's topic is judging ourselves. And today we're going to discuss when we do it, that W word. Wrong. Yeah, part of the challenge I'm going to have today. So if you have thoughts and ideas you'd like to share around that, please feel free to share because we know it has an impact on the show. And at the end of the conversation, we'll come up and offer our one thing, our today's antidote, that will help you hopefully today, or maybe somewhere down the line as you're struggling with judging yourself and what that means and what it looks like. And hopefully that at that point, you'll have the antidote to help you move forward and not stay stuck. So at the end, also, if you would like to share your antidote, please feel free to do that. Share it in whatever social media you happen to be watching us on. It could be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube,
Twitter.
Thank you. Forgot that one. Or
LinkedIn Live.
LinkedIn Live. Yes.
I was paying attention today.
That was good. If you happen to be listening to the podcast, sadly, there is no way for you to share your thoughts while the program is going on. You can, though, then go to the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where we'll be talking about this topic all week long through polls and comments and quotes and just discussions with other renegades who are trying to find their next step along their own unique pathway to success. So you can join us there and share your thoughts and ideas in there. Before we dive into our topic, the first thing we do every day is our celebrations. What are you celebrating today, Bob?
Over the last couple of years, I've been struggling with the word control. I like to control everything. And more and more, I'm realizing how little I control. And in the last 24 hours, I've had 5 or 6 instances where I realized I had very little to no control over things. And it's finally starting to click that I can't control very many things. And it's very liberating to think about it that way. It's like, what can I control? I control how I show up to this program. I can't control how someone reacts to it. I can't control how you react to it. And that's huge growth for me. And it makes me feel much freer and much more able to enjoy myself. It's not there yet, but it's getting closer. What are you celebrating, Tom?
So I'm celebrating 2 things. So yesterday I had 2 great conversations with members of our Renegade Success Network around challenges that they're facing to help them find clarity. And they were, at the end, able to help find their next step. And I think hopefully for that, it will make their next few days even more enjoyable. So that I'm celebrating. And I'm also celebrating that I get to talk about one of my favorite topics in a presentation at a conference today. And while that's not being a renegade, that is one of my favorites. My others is helping people around fundraising or resource generation for their organization or their nonprofit. And so I get to speak with some nonprofit folks today, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to change their perspective, or maybe just impact it a little, around fundraising and why it's can be different than the way everyone looks at it. So I'm excited about that opportunity.
What's the group you're speaking to?
It is the University of Southern Maryland, or the College of Southern Maryland, I forget which.
I think it's College of Southern Maryland.
College of Southern Maryland has a nonprofit institute, and every year they have a conference. And so it's the Southern Maryland Nonprofit Institute Fundraising Conference.
Oh, perfect. Congratulations. That's great.
Yes. Virtual, which opens it up in some ways for more people. And for some others, it's easier. They can just stay at their office and do it.
Saves you a 2-hour drive.
Saves me a 2-hour drive. Correct. Yes. That's another celebration.
So shall we go and read from the book, The Renegade Way?
You took
Would
out
you
the
like to
adjective.
pick a page today, Tom?
20.
Page 20. There we go.
Favorite number.
I did not know that.
Yep.
My clients and my prospective clients surprise me all the time. They figure things out. They put one foot in front of the other, sometimes with my help and often on their own. What helps get me through these unique and unexpected situations is my trust in my instincts and my God-given ability. I've learned over the years, especially as a newspaper reporter, how to put people at ease pretty quickly. I use that skill as much as I can, just like we all use the skills we have as much as we can.
I like that.
There you go.
Excellent. All right. If you'd like to share what you're celebrating today, please feel free to put it in the comments. Getting it out there and sharing it with others can really put you in a space to help you move forward and take your next steps and find ways to do those things that sometimes are challenging to accomplish.
Also might be a path to connecting with someone.
It might be a path to connect.
Oh, you're celebrating that. Oh, I'm celebrating something very similar. We should talk about it.
Correct. All right. So now let's dive into this intriguing topic for the day. Do you want to kick us off?
I do. I love how uncomfortable you've been with this topic all week. It's so much fun.
It's all good.
So,
I like talking about it.
I get things wrong when I judge myself all the time. I am the harshest critic on myself. I demand perfection. And I haven't had a perfect day in my whole life.
Have any of us?
No. But I think that's what I strive for. And so I'm often judging myself by false criteria, by harsh criteria. I'm judging myself based on what other people, their reactions to things. I did it with you right before the program. We were talking about something and I told you I thought I might do something. And your reaction was one where I took like, oh, he's judging me. I must be wrong. I should change my opinion based on what Tom says. And I find I do that a lot. I find that I let other people's opinions factor in more than mine. So I'm not really judging myself. I'm judging my interpretation of what I did based on other people.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think so. I think I have that.
And I think we get it wrong a lot because we don't, like I said yesterday, I think for every good thing I do, there are 20 bad things that I call up. So the scales are always tipped in favor of I failed. And that's where the judging really gets in the way. And I'm really trying to move to the idea of evaluating. You know, I did something yesterday. I spoke to a group yesterday. And afterwards, I was driving home and I was thinking about it and I wasn't being critical about it. I was like, okay, this worked really well. This was really great. This is an area that I thought I understood their situation, but I should have done more homework. And so next time, I need to do more homework on that thing. I made one or two assumptions that were false. It wasn't a big deal to them. I think, you know, they all cheered and said I was amazing and couldn't wait to see me again. But to me, it was like, it wasn't perfect.
Okay. Can
What
it
are
be
your
perfect?
thoughts?
Can it be perfect?
Well, if you're striving for perfection, yes, you want to have perfect.
You can achieve perfection.
So a couple of weeks ago, on a Saturday, I was out and it was the perfect day.
Nothing
Not
could have been
one
better.
thing went wrong. Not one thing was bad. Everything was perfect.
Perfect. So if you had a magic wand and could change anything, you wouldn't change a single thing about that day.
Nope.
Okay. That's interesting for someone who judges themselves a lot.
And the person I was with said the same thing.
Okay.
So maybe there is perfection.
Maybe. Or maybe it's based on your knowledge, experience, and perspective. And if someone asked you a question, say, wow, it sounds like a great day. How would it have been if this had happened? Would you ever be like, oh, yeah, that might have made it even a different day?
Now you're making me judge it. I'm not going there.
That's all I'm saying is that I think it could be quote unquote perfect based on your knowledge, experience, and perspective.
Correct.
Which is fine.
And if it were different, that wouldn't mean it wasn't perfect or that it was imperfect. It would just be different, right?
Just be different. Ah, interesting.
I knew you'd like that. I know you like it when I actually figure out what we're talking about.
No, I think that it's just an interesting, the whole, to let people in behind the scenes, sometimes we look at these topics ahead of time and sometimes we don't. And Bob had put together this week's topic. And when I looked at the subtopic or today's topic, I was like, 2 words in there that I prefer not to use. And how am I going to go through this with these 2 words that I prefer not to use? Because I think that I would actually offer that likely it's not right or wrong.
Okay.
That anytime we judge ourselves, it's a judgment. And I could offer that is always imperfect. Because it's based
or incomplete,
on
right?
Or
because we don't know everything.
Or others have a different, others would bring in a potentially different perspective that we hadn't considered.
Right.
Like the people.
I guess that perfect day, I got a certain beverage. If I got another beverage, who knows? It might have been even better than the one I had.
Yeah, or it would have just been different.
Right.
And I think one of the challenges that, by saying it was the perfect day, aren't you in reality judging it?
I am.
And I think the challenge is that then sets us up for days that we would love to be perfect. Like we're going to do all the things that we really want, blah, 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 and doesn't go the way we thought. And then we say, wow, that day stunk. Or
we're comparing, now that I have what I've described as a perfect day, every other day with this person is probably being judged against that day.
Correct. Interesting, huh?
Yes. Interesting for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is that comparison. But I think that's what we do. In business, if you have a great meeting with your team,
okay,
the next meeting might not be a great meeting with your team because you're dealing with a really contentious issue, or someone got fired and the dynamic is different, or you didn't get to prepare, or you didn't get a full night's sleep the night before. There are a lot of factors outside our control, which goes back to what I was saying at the very beginning about I realized how little I control. Like this group I spoke to yesterday, I had very little control. They had done a very fun activity before I got up to speak to them. And I had to corral them a little bit and also bridge the fun gap because mine looked very heavy comparatively. And
what if
it
you just
wasn't like I
they
did
did an
anything right
activity
or wrong or good or bad. It's just the way it worked out.
Except you defined that activity as fun. And you defined what you were going to talk about as heavy. Interesting how those adjectives sort of create that judgment towards
Yes.
what is coming next.
What was the over-under on times I'd be coached this week? 3? I think we're boarding on 3. We've still got an episode to go.
It's just, and again, it's not like, I think sometimes you think that that's me judging, and I'm not. I'm just offering a different perspective for you to contemplate.
No, I don't think you're judging now. I think you were before, but not now, before the program.
I'm trying not to judge. Maybe I was judging. I don't know. I sometimes just ask questions because I'm curious.
Well, and it's also hard not to judge, especially if someone's actions or words are inconsistent with what we thought we understood about them. Like, I've worked with people on teams where, a sales situation where it's like, hey, this is what the customer wants. Well, we can't do that, but let's wrap it this way to make it look right. That's what they want. So we'll change things around to sort of make it work the way it needs to for the customer. And some of that's okay, but sometimes that's like trying to control a situation that you can't control. And often those situations go really haywire.
They're just situations.
Right. But
again, I think when you put the adjective in there,
right. Just to go through stuff and not judge it at all.
I think you can evaluate it. You can measure it.
It just means we're going through the day very even keeled and we're not learning.
Why do you say that?
To learn, you have to judge, because if I get an A on a paper in college, that means I did it right. You went to college. That's it. You did it right. You got your A's, you got your B's. Maybe you got your C's. I don't know.
Right,
and you got your degree. At the end of 4 years, you did the right things to get that degree. You were judged at every turn in college. And I think for a lot of high schools the same way. I think for a lot of us, that becomes the barometer of how we interact with the world. I'm constantly trying to get an A in everything I do. This program this morning is not, it's not an A program in my mind.
Why is that?
Because it's not linear. I feel like I've overshared in a couple of places. I feel like I've been way too personal with myself and things in my life, and I'm expecting to be judged on that by some people. And what I really deep down inside, I realize I can't do a damn thing about any of it, and that scares me.
Why? You can the one thing you can control are the things that you do. Right? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So just focus on doing the best you can with the knowledge, experience.
The best I can is a judgment.
No, it isn't. It's just doing something.
Well, hold on. You can't say, you can't call it heavy, you can't call it fun, and then say, oh, you can call it the best. That doesn't work, dude. It's either you're going to use an adjective or you're not. You can't just throw best in there and say, oh, that's the exception that proves the rule.
Okay. So you do what you can with the knowledge, experience, and perspective you have at the moment.
Okay.
So I'll take my adjective out. Apologize for adding it in.
But you see what I mean, right?
Well, it depends on what, like, I believe that what we do is what we can in the moment. That we try to take in all that we have, all the knowledge, experience, and perspective we've gained, and put out there what we can. Which, at the moment, could be defined as that's the best we can do in the moment. 2 minutes later, when someone reacts, now it could change. Be like, oh, wow. Like your conversation with yourself on the way back from your event. So I could have done this, should have done that. That's a judgment. Like, okay, next time, how would I think about what other research could I do? What other research, what other things could I have done differently that may have gotten a different result? Not guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
You could have done things differently in your presentation and still had that feeling of, maybe it wasn't exactly the way I had hoped it would turn out.
Okay.
Don't back down.
No, I find it overwhelming.
It's one of the challenges, right? Correct?
Yes. This is not a light topic and not an easy topic to go through. And the more I feel like I'm peeling back the onion, the deeper we go, the harder it gets. And I think it's really hard, at least for me, and I'm sure there's someone else out there saying the same thing. It's really hard not to judge.
Of course it is.
Because I think our whole society is built on that.
Correct.
What do people say at the end of the workday? Hey, how's your day? That's an immediate judgment, right? My day was great. My day was horrible. My day was busy. It's all adjectives.
Well, because people think there's a right or a wrong. There's a good or a bad. What if it's just different and it's based on your perspective, your knowledge, and your experience?
So if I asked you how your day was today, what would you answer, Tom?
Well, I could go back and say, well, here are the things that went well. This, and this. Again, I go back to the 3 questions, and that has helped me avoid a lot of judgment. I say, what might I do differently? Or what didn't go as planned? This happened, this happened, this happened. And what would I do differently going forward? This, and this. Doesn't mean that I always will. Doesn't mean that I won't come back and forget what I had learned, because I haven't truly learned it. And things might, days might be. But I think that when we...
Hey, Tom, I'm going to interrupt because I think we have a blast from your past coming in here. Matthew Colson. Hey, Tom, long time no see. Listening on my drive to campus. Love the conversation. He's on LinkedIn. What campus is he headed to? Do you know?
Oh, he's heading to, I should get this right, Farmingdale State, I believe, on Long Island. Okay. Matthew is. So you know how I talk about balance? Yes. How we talk about how I don't like balance, I like harmony.
Uh-huh.
I got that from Matthew, from a presentation he did about work-life harmony. And
where did you work with Matthew?
So we were both higher ed fundraising advancement professionals. And so we connected at a case conference.
Oh, so you never worked together.
We never worked together.
Oh, okay.
But we were together. We met each other and had a lot of similar perspectives on things and some really good conversations around some of the challenges that we were facing. And we were regulars at this conference. And so we just kind of connected, and he's now a vice president for advancement, I think, at Farmingdale State. He was at Stony Brook University for a long time.
Okay.
Great work.
Nice. Likes that upstate, likes that New York area, apparently.
He is a Long Island guy, I think.
Okay.
There's no doubt.
Nice. So, well, that's great. That's one of the things I love about this program. As we're on LinkedIn more, we're starting to see more people from broader segments of our lives, which is fun. I had someone mention to me the other day that they had seen me on LinkedIn. And it's just great. It's great to be able to affect people in all these places. And Matthew, with you, had me at hello.
I just hope that Matthew is not texting and driving, especially on Long Island, knowing how the roads are there. Be safe, Matthew.
He's not moving that fast on Long Island.
Well, that's fair. He might be.
There's a lot of stop time.
Could be.
Yes. So, Tom, we get to that point. Your favorite part, my favorite part. What is your one thing, your today's antidote, that thing that we can take to the bank as we think through this, so that we can possibly affect change in our lives? No pressure.
Well, it's interesting because there's what I am thinking. And in thinking it, I'm also thinking that it is, it's not exactly the way I would want to phrase it.
That's a judgment.
It's a contemplation. I'm trying to get the.
You just have red light.
Awesome. I'm trying to, because this, I think the topic we're going to talk about next week is words matter. And I more and more firmly believe that the words we choose to use matter, and that we oftentimes use them lightly without thinking about the impact that they have on others. And so I am trying to come up with, which usually I'm pretty good with words. So I think that that might be a judgment itself. I think that I'm going to just go back to that. My opinion is that judging ourselves is really asking us to choose between good, bad, right, wrong. And right. I think that heads you down a slippery slope to becoming stuck, overwhelmed, frustrated, and uncertain. And why I would encourage people not to judge, I would encourage them to try to learn, measure, explore, which I think are different. Mm-hmm. They are helping you move forward, not making giving a definitive response to a situation that could be ever changing.
Okay. I like that. That's good.
How about you?
I'm going to make it super simple. The majority of time when we judge, we're going to get it wrong because we have incomplete information. So it probably makes greater sense to try not to judge and do what you're saying, which is evaluate, measure, take stock, all those words that I like your description of it makes you move forward. Because that's really what we're trying to do. When we judge, we're really trying to say, okay, this is where I am right now, and this is where I want to go. Here's the next step.
Yes. And I think the challenge is that, to me, the judging seems very definitive. Mm-hmm. When at a time when there is not always, as you said, all the information that you could possibly use to provide you with a definitive decision about an action that you've taken.
Right. Okay, great. I've got an ice cream headache from this discussion today. So,
I don't have a solution for an ice cream headache. I don't think. Maybe water. I don't know.
Just means I was thinking way too hard.
You're just thinking. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being a part of our show today. If you have a antidote that you'd like to share, or just a thought or idea, please feel free to share it in the comments, because we know that it'll add value to the overall conversation, and it might be exactly what someone else is looking for to help them take their next step along their own unique pathway to success. So with that, we hope that you will share your thoughts and ideas. If you can't do it in the comments and social media, join us in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where we look forward to seeing you there. If not, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for Bob's favorite show of the week. Yes. We'll talk about our discoveries of the week. This ought to be interesting. So you're going to want to
very interesting.
Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegading you, and try not to judge yourself so harshly or at all. I'll try. It's going to be a challenge, but I'll try.
It might be a good challenge to undertake. The 30-day challenge to not judge yourself. To celebrate.
I'd like to go 30 seconds. Let's start small.
Fair enough. All right, everybody, go out and make it a great day. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.